Hi guys, I'm so glad that you are here. Okay, maybe hold on a minute. You don't know me, right? That's it. You are new in this family and that's why you don't know me. Hi, my name is Clara and I'm the owner of this channel. This is the Ink Path where I talk about books and about the books that I like or the books that I want to buy or the books I actually read and do specials about them. I love literature, so I share my love for it with you here. This is a bilingual channel and that's why maybe my accent is not so British as I would love it to be, or not so American that sometimes it seems to be. I'm Spanish, so I talk about books in English and in Spanish. Obviously you're in an English kind of video. So hi, if you like this video we are going to do a review today. If you like it you can join, well you can give it a like of course, you can join the little family, click and subscribe. If you want to follow me on social media, I'll leave you down below the whole platforms that I actually work with, like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram and that stuff. And also I leave you my Amazon wishlist so you see what I'm looking for if you want. And this is it, we're going to start with a review. See you in a bit. So, the book we're going to discuss today is actually The Secret Garden by, and I have to cheat here because I always get the surname wrong. We are going to talk about The Secret Garden by Frances Hodgson Burnett. I'm not quite sure if that's the proper pronunciation, but we are going to do with that. We are going to talk about The Secret Garden, which is a children's book about a girl called Mary whose life changes the day her parents are found dead, and all her most closest servants are also found dead because of I don't remember exactly, but I believe it was a cholera outburst illness in India, and their parents and workers of the house and servants got ill and died. She was a very wealthy child, but because she lost her parents, she has to be sent to England. Keep in mind that we're, I think, in the 19th century, so the UK had control over India as part of the colonies. So our little friend Mary has to fly from India, which is the only country that she's ever met or known as home, to her original home, which is England. And she goes to live with her uncle, a very kind of stoic, serious man, that he's barely home. And she is very scared about this meeting because you see our character, she's never been around people that much, and she feels that from what she hears he's quite of a very rude person. And when she arrives to the house she again meets her uncle, and he's very serious as I said, but she also starts getting into relation with the rest of the servants of the new house, which is a kind of a big estate house, like a manor in a way of speaking. And when she starts hearing the servants murmuring about the house itself and about his own kind of owner, she also discovers that there's a legend within the house regarding her uncle, that in the house there's a massive gardens in the fields, but there's a specific garden that is actually, as you may already know, guarded behind a closed door, a door that has no key. And our protagonist, Mary, decided to find the key and find the secret garden. That's why the book is called The Secret Garden. This is the plot, like the summary of it, but it's more to it than just that. Now, we're going to start about talking a little bit about how I encountered this book. I already knew the author for another book called The Little Princess, which I haven't read, sorry, but I've seen the 90s, I think it was around the 90s, yeah, the Alfonso Cuarón's adaptation of the story, that it was released around the 90s, as I said. And it's one of my favorite growing up movies that I've watched. Recently I discovered it was actually a book, but I couldn't find it, and if I did, it was quite expensive. So when I discovered that you could check on Apple Store for free audiobooks, because Apple had released a set of classic free audiobooks read by famous actors, I decided to give it a go. And one of these free audiobooks narrated by an actress was The Secret Garden, and I decided to start with The Secret Garden, not only because I wanted to read Frances Hodgson Burnett work, but because it was narrated and acted by Karen Gillan. For those who don't know, although I believe a lot of people know already, Karen Gillan is Nebula from the Marvel kind of Enterprise, Marvel Studio, I'm not sure how to call it, but from the Marvel comics and Marvel films. And she is also, for those who love Doctor Who in the way I do, she is also Amy Pond, which is a companion to the 11th Doctor, who was portrayed by Matt Smith. Now I'm going to tell you what elements I liked about this story. As I said, I decided to listen to this on audiobook because it was free, and also mainly because I wanted to see, other than reading the proper story or enjoying the proper story, I wanted to see Karen Gillan in a different environment, or not having the support of the image. But the good thing about the audiobook in my case is because of my workload lately, in the last few months I haven't been very focused on the reading part, and the audiobook was a really good choice. But taking just the story, going back to the story, I have to say that in terms of characters, the action and the focus and the narration is set on Mary as the main character, who is not a very likable character at the beginning. She's very posh, she's very kind of conceited. This change of scenery forced her to get up and to reconsider what she's been doing and learn from the scratch. And that's why this is considered a coming of age story. This is a story about learning. This is not only about the mystery of finding the key to open the door that locks the garden away, but this is about learning how to be oneself and learning how to behave in society and be honest and be kind and be nice to other people. This change is very gradual for our main character, which gives the book the feeling that it's actually a real change, and I love that. This is a very, as I said, a very kind of coming of age story, although it's only centered around her. The good thing about the characters is that you have a variety of characters. Okay, we are focused on Mary, but Mary encounters different characters that are very, very different from her. First in India, where the majority of the characters that she encounters and talks to are native from that country, so she knows that they are not alike. And also when she encounters the other servants in in her uncle's house, she is able to tell that they are rural people, they are rural citizens. So at the beginning she's behaving kind of as a bratty little girl, and she considers them like inferior to her, but then she discovers that they are the only thing that she has left. So she learns how to behave and makes friends within the servant group. Another kind of characters that I cannot actually tell because they are part of the plot twist of this. Now, other than the characters, the most iconic feature of this book, in the form I read it, was actually Karen's voice. Karen was able to make you believe you were inside the story, even though you didn't have even the book with you. She did the whole set of voices of different characters, from adults to children, from boys to girls, and everything in between. She did all the accents, which was a little bit tricky at the beginning because I quite had trouble with the northern accent. You have to take into account that I normally listen to the RP pronunciation, which is the received pronunciation I just mentioned before, which is kind of the BBC style of English. So it's always kind of a quest to get used to different kind of accents and changes in the voice modulation and so on. But I love it because it gave the book the solidity it needed, mainly because it is said that she is in a different area from where she was normally born, but also in the voice, in the way of speaking, you can see the differences in wealth and in education from the other characters. But I also like Karen's work regarding the ambience and the descriptions that she did for the house and the other elements of the story, the mystery element. It was very crucial to have someone with this kind of control over her own voice, her own tension in the voice. Someone who was able to add that tension of the scene to the unspoken words. So for that fragments that were either narration or a quotation of description of some kind. So she managed to not only give the characters a voice, but to make you to complete the puzzle, so you had the experience of being inside the story, walking by the long gloomy corridors, or like exploring the big and wild gardens. I love that in the sense that I would probably had more issues picturing the scenes and the dialogues, but Karen made a bridge through from the text to my mind that probably I would have taken very long to build. Also because it was, even though it was a children's book, it's a classic. So even though I've read classics and I love classics, there's always a point in which I'm at the beginning normally, where I'm reading it and I understand what I've been told, but I cannot grasp it in the same sense I see the rest of the books. I normally imagine books as I was part of the plot, as I was, and as I were an extra character. But with the classics, depending on which classic, or if I read it before or not, I always have this kind of 20 pages or 15 pages in which I'm still struggling to get into the proper plot emotionally, because I don't have this connection to, because the language is different, because the structures of the sentences is different, or because the characters that are talking to me speak in a different way. I'm still struggling to figure out what they mean to say. It takes me longer to read than a contemporary book or a fantasy book set in medieval times but written in today's words. So Karen made that kind of in-between process more easily, more quicker, or quicker than it would normally be for me if I was reading it on a page. So yeah, I love this story. I actually gave it 5 stars. I find it very nice and entertaining and cute, and I really like it. I gave it 5 stars, and I love the experience of listening to it on audiobook. I hope you enjoyed this review. As always, you can come back next week and I will give you another video. And before I forget, this video is not sponsored by Apple or Apple Store by any means. This is just the way I encountered the book. And well, this is it. I hope you enjoyed the review, as I said, and I hope you can tell me down below which is your favorite children's book, or which book do you remember the most or loving the most as a child. Let me your reply in the comment section down below. Okay, bye.